Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Eilers, Acting Chair of the National Endowment for the Arts. It is my privilege to welcome you to the Culture of America, a cross-country visit with the 2021 National Heritage Fellows. This year's honorees are artists, advocates, and educators. They're also pillars of our communities, upholding the traditions that strengthen the fabric of our cultures. From Osage ribbon work to the hill country blues, folk and traditional arts are infused with meaning, family history, and cultural knowledge. They offer a critical way of telling our own story and the story of our nation. They also give us the opportunity to build bridges across cultures and foster appreciation and respect for our neighbors. For historically marginalized communities, the traditional arts can be powerful symbols of resilience. Their continuation from generation to generation is a beautiful testament to the perseverance of the human spirit. Congratulations once again to our 2021 National Heritage Fellows, and thank you for joining us as we honor and celebrate them. Enjoy the show.
The United States is home to a rich and distinctive mix of cultural communities from indigenous to newly arrived, each with its own unique living traditions. I'm Jimmy Smits, and I am honored to present to you the 2021 NEA National Heritage Fellows. With this fellowship, the National Endowment for the Arts bestows the nation's highest honor for the folk and traditional arts. Nominated by fellow citizens, this annual award recognizes traditional artists and culture bearers rooted in community. Their work reflects the fluidity of the past, present, and future. And tonight we honor their role and contributions in the building of a national fabric. So without further ado, here are the 2021 awardees. From Holly Springs, Mississippi, Cedric Burnside. From Yonkers, New York, Joni Madden. From Burbank, California, Tagumpay de Leon. From Delaplane, Virginia, Tom Davenport. From Moca, Puerto Rico, Nelly Vera. From Winsboro, Louisiana, the Winsboro Easter Rock Ensemble. From Chicago, Illinois, Reggio the Hoofer McLaughlin. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, Anita Fields. From East Los Angeles, Los Lobos. Now let's take a journey across the country to meet these incredible artists. We'll start in northern Mississippi Hill Country with award-winning blues musician Cedric Burnside. Distinct from the Delta blues, this North Mississippi regional style is practiced in the counties near the Tennessee border. A drummer, guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist, Cedric does it all.
.145, the average blues, it'll be something like this. That's the average blues that you're gonna hear, even if you go to Delta. So Hill Country is more of a unorthodox drone rhythm. That's the whole song. It's kind of hard to explain. So I always say Hill Country Blues has got a mind of its own. Kind of have to really feel it as opposed to read it. This music is very special in these parts. Mississippi just does it for me. North Mississippi, hill country, is quite different from the Delta. I feel like my whole being is hill country. From hill country music, from hill country living, that's all hill country to me. I was born into this. Growing up in the Burnside family, was very fortunate to have my big daddy, R.L. Burnside, and my big mama, Alice Mae Burnside. They was definitely the backbone for the whole family. They took care of their kids and a lot of their grandkids and some of their great-grandkids. My big daddy being one of the hill country legends, I've been around this music my whole life. We didn't have no running water, no bathtub, no toilet. But I always remember Big Daddy, he would play music no matter how things was, and we would love that. They would throw house parties every other weekend, and people would come 10 to 20 miles because they know my Big Daddy and them was gonna play music. And I would be one of many grandchildren out there just kicking up dust. I built up the courage one evening, to just jump on the drums. Even though I didn't sound good, there was people, as a little kid saying, "Oh, he gonna be good one day. Get up there, play him. He gonna be good one day."
Is my grandson, Mr. Cedric Burnside.
I listened to all types of music, but I fell in love with the more raw style of music, the tradition that my Big Daddy put out there. First instrument I started playing was drums. When I turned about 10, 11 years old, I was good enough to play in the juke joints. My whole life was a juke joint, My school was a juke joint. My church, it was a juke joint. I wanted to write music, and I said to myself, I got to learn how to play guitar because wasn't nobody playing what I had in my head.
I told my baby I'm gonna love her till I die. I told my baby I'm gonna love her till I die. When I first saw her, she really caught my eye.
My heart was the old school blues, the old school music.
And I said I wanna love her, 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 love her till I die.
So when I write, it tends to sound modern, but it also tends to sound old.
I said I wanna love her, 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 love her till I die.
That old feeling is in my heart, and it will always be. And I thank my Big Daddy, R.L. Burnside, for that. My youngest daughter, she loves music. They all pill around on the guitar just a little bit, Not as much as I would like.
There you go.
But Portia, she try to spend at least 45 minutes to an hour on guitar every day. Hopefully I'll have the first Burnside lady to play music, you know.
I be trying, but don't want to human. I be trying to do the best that I can. Things I used to do, I tried not to do no more. What did you
It's your song, man.
I know it.
It's your song, man. It's special to me because it's been in my family for so long. For it to be, carried on since RL passed it to my dad and he made it his own type of music, he's passing it to me. It's only right for me to make it my own.
And on this next song, I like to call my youngest daughter up, Miss Portugal Burnside.
I be trying, but don't want to be man. I be trying to do the best that I can.
The people around know us for our music, and we love to play it for them. I try to write it according to what I go through every day. There's people right now in Mississippi that live that same lifestyle that I lived as a kid. The Burnsides know all of those people. And when they come around, no matter how much they done heard that music, they want me to play a couple songs,
Like Cedric, our next fellow knows the special bond created by family music. A renowned composer and arranger, Joni Madden is a dynamic performer, band leader, and successful solo recording artist. She is an undeniable force in Irish American music. Hailing from Yonkers, New York, let's visit with Joni.
The most important gift my father gave to me was his music. But he did not want me to pursue a career in being a musician. I quit college and I came home and my father says, "Oh, Jesus, what are you going to do now?" I said, "Dad, I'm going to play my music around the world." He says, "Joni, oh my God, I'll never sleep a wink with you. My heart is happiest when I'm playing the penny whistle." The community I live in is very much an Irish American community. You have the Irish butcher and you have the Irish coffee shops and the Irish pubs. This neighborhood is really Irish. My father was dying to have a child that played Irish music, and I came along. He learned his music from his great uncles. The music has been passed down and passed down and passed down. My father, he started me on fiddle lessons, and I took fiddle for a year and a half. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. And then we had a piano, and I took 2 weeks of lessons on the piano, and I didn't like the piano. And then one day, I saw the whistle. And as soon as I heard it, oh my God, that was it. There's whistles everywhere. This is my life, organized chaos. Once I started playing, I wouldn't stop. And I used to play while we're watching television. So my brothers finally made an agreement that I could only play during commercials. So I would play on commercials, but then I would go and the whistle would be gone. And I'll never forget when we sold the house and we were moving, I found out my brothers and sister were taking the whistles and shoving them down the couch. There was about 13 of them down there. Well, this was given to me by a whistle class, and they all signed it, one of my students. I didn't even remember this one. Yeah, but each one has a story. It's funny. In 1983, I went to Ireland and competed over in the All-Ireland Championship along with wonderful friends of mine who happened to be all women, and we had a great year. I won the whistle, which was what I was going to do, and I was the first American to win it. When I came home, I received a phone call from my great friend, Dr. McMaloney, and he thought we should get a concert series together in celebration. Mick is a professor of ethnomusicology. He said, I went to the Philadelphia Irish Musicians Society, and over 100 years, he said, you know how many members were women? I said, I don't know. He said, 0. Cherish the Ladies began in 1985, and here we are, 36 years later. When we first started playing, people thought we were like a Spice Girls kind of a thing, that we were just these bunch of girls thrown together for a marketing ploy, and then we'd start to play and entertain, and they'd go, damn, you girls really can play! I'm a girl from the Bronx who's made my living playing traditional Irish music, recorded 24 albums so far, and I've toured all over the world. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that was possible. We started out as just an Irish American band, and now we're considered one of the top Irish Celtic groups in the world. Mary's dad and my dad, they were great buddies. Her father was a great accordion player as well. And I remember when we would do concerts, they'd all be at the back of the hall, all the dads lined up. And after each tune, you'd see them all going like this. You know, we used to be more worried about what our fathers would think of each album instead of the New York Times. You ready? My parents came to watch me play with the Boston Pops up at Tanglewood. I looked down and I was playing a solo with the 100-piece orchestra. My father was crying. You know, he said, Jesus, you did it. You did everything you said you were gonna do. And he'd be so proud to see me today. Anybody who says they got it from the wind, they're full of it. You got it from all these people that have given their hearts and their souls, passing the music down and giving their time. It's music from the birds and the bees, and there's something in it that touches people.
Wow. Now we head from New York to California to meet a master teacher and performer of rondalia. A tradition originating in medieval Spain, rondalia has transformed in the Philippines over the last 400 years into the string ensemble music that you're about to hear. Affectionately known in Southern California's Filipino community as Uncle Pai, let's meet Tagumpay de Leon.
In the Philippines, we have a famous saying, ang hindi lumingon sa pinanggalingan, hindi makararating sa paroroonan. Which means, if you don't look back, then how can you move forward? My father was a composer and a conductor in a famous orchestra in the Philippines. My mother, the same thing. She was a pianist. As a kid in the house, there's instruments laying around. I started tinkering with all these rondalla instruments. We played as a family rondalla. It's a staple in the Philippines. When I first came to the US, I still support my family. Most Filipino children, that's their ambition, to help the family. That's why we immigrated here. At that time, I wasn't even thinking of rondalla. I was trying to think of how to earn a living. But 1975, I thought it will be a good idea to join a rondalla. 1991, we founded the Rondalla Club of LA. I love playing, promoting the culture. Eventually, some younger players want to learn, not necessarily player already. They want to be a member, but they want to learn. I've been teaching 20 years.
Living Filipino American, I grew up listening to the radio. There's a lot out there, but I never knew my own heritage. I first heard about his group Rondalla Club of Los Angeles in college. Every time I discover something new, I'm just like, I get these feelings. I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
Filipinos here in America, I mean, we really don't have our own voice. We're large in numbers, but we're not represented. Having rondalla music, I mean, it's uniquely Filipino. It's hard to picture rondalla, in LA and California, in the country, without thinking of, the impact of Uncle Pai.
We have instances where we played in a restaurant, our group. And every time we play these old songs, these old guys, 70s to 80s, they started crying because I feel homesick. I want to go home. Well, of course, they've been here for a long time. Playing in a rondalla, of course, it feels fulfilling for me. You always think of your country. Playing in a group, you can see, you can hear every other part. You can see how we blend together. And especially when I see some of my former students, some members now, learn from basics to become advanced players, then there's fulfillment in that. I still envision future generations to continue this as long as there are Filipino Americans that want to learn about their roots. Learn more about yourself as a Filipino. That's when they start discovering all these beautiful things.
Great. Our next fellow is the recipient of the Best Lomax Halls Award, which recognizes an individual who has made major contributions to the excellence, vitality, and public appreciation of folk and traditional arts. From his family farm in Virginia, filmmaker Tom Davenport has spent much of his life promoting and preserving documentary films about folk life and cultural heritage.
Folklore is extremely difficult to define. There are lots of people who have tried, and each definition seems to be a little bit of the truth but leaves something out. It's so ubiquitous, that it's so close to you, that you kind of take it for granted. I grew up as a little kid in the suburbs of Fairfax County and below Alexandria during the World War II years. My family bought this farm in 1950, and we moved out here around that time. Filmmaking at the time that I graduated from college wasn't considered to be a viable career. I had to sort of figure it out myself. Wide angle, normal, telephoto. Telephoto was there. My father had this old house that here it was practically falling down, but he fixed it up for us, so we'd had no mortgage. I mean, you can imagine how helpful that was. So we were thinking, what are we going to do? Where am I going to work? What kind of jobs am I going to do? The landscape and film when I was growing up in the United States, unless you were in a college town that had an art theater or a big metropolitan area that it was primarily Hollywood. And I said, well, why don't we just see if we can sell movies, sell our films, make films, and sell them from our house here. And so there it is with the little pictures. And that turned out to be something that we could do.
God done got tired. You got to go to judgment, stand the trial. You got to go to judgment, stand the trial. You got to go to judgment. God got tired of the wicked ways. You know there ain't a thing in heaven done knowing the day. He said your evil deed, God done got tired. You got to go to judgment, stand the trial.
I started Folk Streams in about 2000, and that's what I've been doing with much of my life since that period of time. Folk Streams is a site where we stream these films and make them available free of charge to anyone. We selected films that are significant films in terms of documenting American folk life or life of communities and community scholars. These documentary films were significant, but I felt they were completely hard to find. All these films that didn't fit the network idea of what a film should be were sitting there, and we knew they were important. And how could we overcome this? And also, the other issue was, what was going to happen to these? Would they all be just lost because of neglect? We were before YouTube. But the big difference between us and YouTube is YouTube runs on algorithms, and YouTube has a profit motive. We're very filmmaker-centric. We have about 400 films on Folk Streams that are streaming now. And the best of these films are not so much look at the way the person played the Indian flute or the fiddling style of Tommy Gerald or something like that. That's in the film. The core of the film is a universal story, almost an archetype, and they're often about how cultures and people survived difficult times. That's a universal thing. I'm not so interested in making films now because it's getting so cluttered out there. It sounds silly. There's too much of it. But as I've grown up and matured as a filmmaker, it seems to me the things that are closer to you are the areas or the places where you should focus your attention. So your obligation as a filmmaker is to make those things visible and to share them with other people. You look back and try to make a story of your life, but you don't really know why those things happened, really, I think. What's the meaning of my life? What am I going to do with my life? Folkstreams has been a great pleasure for me to have a role in which I felt that I was doing something that was helpful to people and important to the nation and to our culture. I could continue to do it, and here I am at 82 still doing it.
From the rolling hills of Northern Virginia, we venture to a place very near and dear to my heart, my mother's home island of Puerto Rico, where at 95 years old, Nelly Vera continues the tradition made famous by her community, the beautiful art of mundillo. Nelly not only still finds the essence of nature in its intricate designs, but also describes it as her way of life. Let's meet Nelly.
Yo tuve una experiencia cuando joven, de pequeña. Mi mamá nos llevaba a nosotras todas las tardes a dar un paseo para coger aire. Y ese día nos paró frente a la plaza. Yo sentí un ruido. Sentí unos ruiditos bien suaves, sonando. Y le digo, mami, ese ruido. Ella me dice, ya vas a ver lo que es. Había personas, señoras, niñas, mayores, todos haciendo mundillo. Y eso para mí fue eterno, nunca se me olvidó. Mamá me enseñó con amor. Hay quien enseña no con amor, ¿verdad? Tiene la punta bruja, que es la punta que más a mí me gusta hacer. Hay que saber tejerla. La punta de la bruja es mi preferida, sí. Aquí hay otra con la punta bruja también. Aquí que dice bebé. Ahora todo el mundo le está poniendo a los bebés este tipo de zapatos y de botines. Yo crecí en el barrio Voladora de Moca. En el 1980, a esta misma casa, esta casa en que vivo. Llegó el momento en que Moca era el pueblo que más artesanos tenía. Era el pueblo que más tejía mundillo. Todas las muchachas, las mujeres, todas aprendían a tejer. ¿Por qué? Era una manera de subsistir. Y las mujeres eran las que ayudaban a conseguir el pan de todos los días. Moca es la capital del mundillo.
Mira qué mal, mira cómo están esos truenos, doña Nelly. Doña Nelly Vera fue mi primera maestra. Al principio haciendo crochet me gustó, pero cuando la vi haciendo mundillo, yo dije, oh, wow, yo quiero. Es parte de la cultura de Moca y es parte de la cultura de Puerto Rico. Es una tradición, es de nosotros. Que está encargado adentro de 3 semanas. Y ella ha hecho mucho por mucha gente. Mundillo no está en peligro de extinción. Yo llevo 30 años y ya no está en peligro de extinción, así que hay futuro. Claro que sí.
Eso es increíble. O sea que las cosas, las tradiciones, es bueno recordarlas. Para mí el mundillo lo es todo. Que me siento satisfecha por haber logrado lo que he logrado. Seguir viviendo tranquila, pero que mi vida es el mundillo. Eso siempre yo lo he dicho. Es lo que uno lleva dentro, desde que nace. Y eso uno no se lo olvida por el resto de su vida. De esto de oír el sonido de los bolillos. A mí eso jamás se me ha olvidado. Estoy viva por el mundillo.
We find our next honoree across the Gulf of Mexico in Winsboro, Louisiana. The Winsboro Easter Rock Ensemble maintains a rare, woman-led African-American sacred ritual that was first practiced by enslaved Africans during the antebellum period. While extreme weather conditions and public health protocols made it impossible for us to visit with the ensemble, thankfully, our crew was able to put together this glimpse of one of the oldest African-American spiritual traditions in the nation, with materials that were collected from friends and community members. Take a look.
I started rocking at the age of 6 years old under the leadership of my grandmother and been rocking ever since. My mother, grandmother, was doing the rock then, and we would go and watch them as they perform at church, where my mother said we had to rock. It wasn't what we wanted to do, we had to. We all growed up rocking. But after growing up and got older and got a family and all that, now I know what it means. Jesus died and he rose on Sunday morning. I mean it's spiritual. It's not only just a play thing here. When we get to the church, it is so spiritual. We start out with a prayer, and it's just real religious. The lamb represents the 12 tribes of Israel. The cake represents the 12 disciples. The punch represents the blood. The egg in the basket represents the breaking of the grave when he got up on Sunday morning. The banner, it represents carrying the cross. And all of these people are friends, family, different churches. They are from different areas of churches. But on the Saturday night before Easter, we have like 25 to 30 rockers.
Yeah.
have so many generations that's now rocking, so many friends from different areas in Winsboro, Louisiana. And we continue the tradition. We love it. We know what it means. We are rocking to a risen Savior. And we just thank the Lord that we'll continue in His name. And I'm just going to carry it on until I can't do it anymore. Maybe my daughter or my sister here, grandchildren, some of them may carry it on.
Beautiful and so moving. Our next fellow is known in his hometown of Chicago as Reggie-O the Hoofer. A choreographer, teacher, and stage performer, Reginald McLaughlin has been tap dancing for over 50 years. From the city streets to the big stage, Reggie-O's distinctive style and infectious passion keeps the tradition of tap alive.
I'm from Chicago. My name is Reggie-O. I perform down in the subway and on the street. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I dance in schools and on the news. Sit back, relax, let me strike up my feet. Huh, hey. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Chicago has always been my home base. Pure Chicago. When I was 7 years old, I saw tap for the first time. It was love at first sight. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. These are the shoes I'm going to wear tomorrow when we go outside. Voila, red and white, one of my favorite colors of all time. Look at that. I'm so fortunate to have all these beautiful shoes. You know, when I first started dancing, I had to improvise by putting bottle cap tops on the bottom of my shoes. But look at me now. Real shoes, every color. La 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 la. It was tough in the beginning because people and friends would say, man, tap dancing, I don't know why you want to tap dance. Nobody do that anymore. My biggest motivator that kept me going as a tap dancer was love for the dance. At the time, I could not find nobody to teach me tap. So I started going to the library and studying the history of tap and looking up tapes of tap dancers. The books I was taught that in Africa, they beat it what they call the talking drums. And they could send out like messages on these talking drums. When Africans were brought over to America, they were prohibited to play the talking drum. So they began to substitute with the sounds and the beating of their feet. And this developed into an art form. I don't know. I kept a lot of my stuff. These are my actual shoes I danced with in the subway years ago, man. These are turned into a museum piece, you know what I'm saying? Late teens and 20s, I started going down in the subway to sharpen that craft and perfect it. In some ways, people look down on you because you're just out there, you know, you're not on a prestigious stage or anything. It kind of also shaped my life as a person. In 1985, my friend, she told me my grandfather's a tap dancer. Matter of fact, he's gonna be in town next week to perform. We got an extra ticket for you. That's when I first met Brownie. When I saw him, I nearly fainted because I remember seeing him in some of the videos when I would go to the library and study the history of tap. He came from out of that era, the golden age of tap, and worked with the Duke Ellington, the Count Basie and stuff. And he really started to put it all together for me.
Let's go home, Brownie.
When I worked with Brownie, when he showed me a routine, never counted. He never used terminology like flap, shuffle, ball chain, none of that. He just do the step and say, okay, man, do it. Nah, man, that ain't it. Feel it. You gotta feel it. And he passed that dance to me. Now I hold that dance. I teach it to everybody. A lot of times I'm telling my students, look, I don't count like that. If you want to count it for yourself, okay, but you gotta feel this. When people see tap dancing, it brings a certain joy to them. It's like it's a happy dance. These steps are very pure, and they have a lot of meaning and a lot of history to them. And when you're true to it, it's true to you.
Wow, it's hard not to smile after watching that. Our next honoree shares Reggio's taste for bold, beautiful colors. Oklahoma's Anita Fields is receiving this award for her contributions to Osage ribbon work, an art form integral to the culture and traditions of the Osage Nation. Anita incorporates ribbon work into her multidisciplinary clay and textile installation in unexpected and inspiring ways.
Hey, boy, we don't speak. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm always thinking about the essence of who we are as Osage people. Even though I know I do it in a contemporary way, so sometimes that's might be hard for people to see, but that's what motivates me. Because this is all part of that. It's what informs me and inspires me, when I go to make my work.
Then we couldn't see out of them.
The essence of who we are as Osage people, who we are in our being, I find this all wrapped up in clothing and these representations. My home is in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but I'm currently living in Tulsa. I've been here for the last 5 years as a fellow with the Tulsa Artist Fellowship. Ribbon work has a prominent role within our culture. We started acquiring ribbons through trade with the French, and then took that process and the techniques and started making things uniquely Osage. I went to school at the Institute of American Indian Arts. It was probably, for the first time for many of us to be around young Native people, talented, in the arts. They encouraged us to dwell into our culture, look to our culture, look to our background. This is an Osage woman's blanket from my grandmother's collection. The items that she had in her trunk were her most treasured possessions and have become my most treasured possessions. Some people, refer to these as fingers, but I particularly love this. It's like graph paper fabric. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. One of the tenets in Osage philosophies and worldview is how time evolves. Our worldview takes into account eons of time, observing nature, how nature has order, how everything is connected. I'm interested in those thoughts and ideas and how they influence us today as contemporary Osage people. I find that really fascinating. These are handmade stamps created with my Osage ribbon work patterns. And you can see the sawtooth design over here. You can see a segment of the double arrow over here. You can see where I utilize the stamps in some of the impressions that I made on here for this clay piece. It holds the memory of the people and the cultures who were there. Oklahoma is not our original homeland. Great sacrifice has been made for us to exist today. And I've always felt like, I feel like that's a responsibility that you carry, to the ancestors. We have survived.
15 note here made that suit for your dad.
This suit for my dad?
Yeah, this one and this one.
These things are handed down and treasured, because they understand the meaning behind them and understand how important they were to the family member who wore them. These designs and patterns have been with us for such a long time that they define us. They define our relationships. And so that's why they're important. And that thread that ties you to the past. It even took a while for me to kind of evolve into this place that I am now. You know, that I don't know any other way to describe it, but I always think it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful what we have.
From the edge of the Great Plains, we now travel back to the Pacific Coast to meet our final honorees. You know, they are part of the soundtrack of all of my years in California. The album La Pistola y el Corazón is got to be on my all-time fave Latinx playlist. And when I think of the sound tapestry of America, this multi-award-winning group has got to be front and center. I'm beyond thrilled to present Los Angeles music legends, Los Lobos.
Mexican folk music, is still embedded in us, man. It's what got us started. We always draw from that. We always go back to that. It's the truth. It's a good day to rock softly.
There's a beautiful language in there that would be applicable to anybody.
The folk musicians, they don't play by the book. They do it as they feel it.
When I got introduced to it, that became more important than anything else.
And it will always be a point of reference for us.
Vamos al dance, a pachanguear. Voy con los vatos de mi cantón. Voy a encontrar a mi querer. A tirar chancla, que sabroso, que suave está esta canción. Esta rola del corazón, porque a bailar soy muy feliz. A chiquitita tú eres la razón. Qué bonito suena esta cumbia, cumbia. Los vatos le gustan. Baila chicos cumbia, qué bonito suena esta cumbia, cumbia. Los vatos le gustan. Baila chicos cumbia.
We were all into music separately before Los Lobos got together. So like Dave and Louie had a rock band and Conrad had a rock band. I had an R&B funk band. We took an interest in Mexican folkloric music, and that's where it kind of started for us.
Vamos al club a pachanguear. Voy con los vatos de mi cantón. Voy a encontrar a mi querer. A tirar chancla, que sabroso, que suave está.
We were just out of high school, and we all had long hair and beards. We looked more like the Neil Young band. But we were playing the folk music, and we show up to play, and all the old people start walking out, like, oh shit, these guys are gonna be too loud, And then we start playing the folk music, and then they come back. We tapped into something that we'd never experienced before.
It all comes back to the roots, and that is East Los Angeles. We all grew up in the same neighborhoods. Eventually our parents kind of knew each other. And all of those things, those are real deep roots.
Some of our friends that were fans of the rock and roll bands that we were in were kind of thinking we're nuts to leave that. The traditional music, it helped me to learn more about my culture than anything else.
At the beginning, we were studying folkloric music, learning all the different regional styles and the instruments, and it was amazing. But as time went on, we've learned to. It's become our musical language. When we write music, a lot of times we will tap into those influences. That took a while to get the confidence to do that. We had so much respect for it, and we didn't want to screw it up.
I was in a band called the Blasters, and these guys opened the show. And by that time, they plugged in and playing electric rock music. And they had played together for 7 years, which I think is significant because in this scene, like that early LA scene, arguably the oldest band at that time would have been 2 years old, maybe 3 years old. They had this cohesion that nobody else had, even though there were lots of great bands, but these guys had something they had built, molecule by molecule over years that was unmatched.
What the hell?
Where are these going?
Yeah, are these from Joel?
We started this band in 1973, and then 5 years went by, and 10 years, and then somebody hit fast forward, and here we are, 24 months away from being 50 years old.
We created this band, and it did something very special. I mean, with all of us, our community just got closer.
Generation down, a lot of young musicians, the Bamba was the first thing they heard from us, and now they're playing. Chicano kids playing the Mexican music. That's gratifying.
This award, I think it's a little different. Everything else is sort of based around our place in popular culture, the modern mainstream, and to share this honor with so many amazing artists, and to get recognized for the traditional stuff that we've done and the attempts to sort of carry the traditional music forward, it's a huge thing for us.
We're aware of the fact that we are somewhat of ambassadors of our culture to redefine a lot of what people think about Mexican people. It's just part of our job, in everything we do. And we have a pretty good time doing it.
And that concludes our long and winding cross-country tour of your 2021 NEA National Heritage Fellows. Tonight, they join over 450 culture bearers who have received this distinguished award since its inception in 1982. I hope you had as much fun as I did. We'll see you next year when we celebrate the 40th anniversary of this program. Have a great night.